Have you ever felt like you're chasing something you can't quite see? Stuck in a system that doesn't make any sense? If so, you'll understand the world of Franz Kafka's masterpiece, The Castle. Welcome to our deep dive into one of literature's most enigmatic and haunting novels. Our story begins on a cold, snowy evening. A man, known only as K, arrives in a small, isolated village. He claims to be a land surveyor, summoned to work for the mysterious castle that looms over the town. But this isn't some grand, fairy tale fortress. From the village, the castle looks like a wretched, confusing cluster of buildings, almost indistinguishable from the other structures on the hill. It's a symbol of power that is simultaneously omnipresent and utterly inaccessible. From the moment he sets foot in the village, K is met with suspicion and bureaucratic red tape. The son of a castle official immediately challenges him, demanding a permit. K insists he's been summoned, and a series of confusing phone calls follows. At first, the castle denies any knowledge of him. Then, just as suddenly, a second call confirms his appointment. For K, this isn't a welcome confirmation. It's a challenge. He believes the castle is playing a game with him, taking up the challenge with a smile. This sets the stage for K's relentless, and ultimately fruitless, quest. His entire existence becomes consumed by one single-minded goal: to gain access to the castle, to speak with the authorities, and to validate his purpose for being there. But the castle seems designed to keep him out. The authorities are faceless, nameless entities. The rules are arbitrary and constantly changing. K is assigned to assistants, Arthur and Jeremiah, who are more of a hindrance than a help. They follow him around, reporting his every move, their childish antics a constant source of frustration. They seem to be another tool of the castle, designed to wear him down. In a desperate attempt to make contact, K tries to telephone the castle, but instead of a direct line to an official, all he hears is a strange, distant hum of countless children's voices. It's a bizarre, almost surreal sound that underscores the absurdity of his situation. The connection is there, but communication is impossible. Eventually, an official named Oswald gets on the line, only to deliver a crushing blow. When can K's master come to the castle? The answer is simple and absolute: never. Just when it seems all hope is lost, a new figure enters the scene. Barnabas, a messenger from the castle. He brings K a letter. Finally, some tangible proof. The letter confirms K is now an employee of the castle, and that his direct superior is the village superintendent. This seems like a breakthrough, a genuine step forward. K eagerly goes to meet the superintendent, hoping for clarity, for instructions, for his work to finally begin. The meeting with the superintendent, however, is yet another masterclass in bureaucratic nightmare. The superintendent, a kindly but bedridden old man, explains the whole situation with a sigh. It turns out there was a request for a land surveyor, but it was made years ago. A department made the request, another department denied it, but due to a mix-up, K's summons was sent out anyway. In short, there is absolutely no need for a land surveyor in the village. The entire journey, the summons, the confirmation, it was all a mistake. An echo of a long-forgotten administrative error. The system is so convoluted that it operates on its own, without logic or reason. So, what is K to do? He can't be the land surveyor, but he can't just leave either. He's now, technically, an employee. The superintendent offers him a provisional solution. He can take a job as the school janitor. From a highly skilled professional to a janitor, it's a humiliating demotion, but K accepts. He's willing to do anything to stay, to remain within the castle's sphere of influence, convinced that any connection, no matter how small, is better than none. It is in this state of limbo that K's personal life becomes entangled with the castle's power structure. He begins a passionate relationship with a woman named Frieda. She's a barmaid at the Herrenhof, the inn reserved for castle officials. More importantly, she was the mistress of a high-ranking official named Klamm. Klamm is a legendary, almost mythical figure in the village. No one has seen him clearly, but his influence is everywhere. K's relationship with Frieda is driven by a mix of genuine affection and cold calculation. He believes that through her, he can get closer to Klamm, and therefore, closer to the castle itself. Their first intimate moments happen right under the bar, near the very door to Klamm's room, symbolizing how K uses intimacy as a tool to breach the walls of bureaucracy. The absurdity deepens when K receives another letter, this time from the elusive Klamm himself. The letter praises K for his very satisfactory surveying work. But K hasn't done any surveying. He's been working as a janitor. This letter shows just how detached the castle is from reality. It doesn't matter what K actually does. All that matters is what the paperwork says he does. The system has created its own narrative, and K is just a character within it, his real actions completely irrelevant. Through his connections in the village, K also learns the tragic story of Barnabas's family. Years ago, Barnabas's beautiful sister Amalia received a crude and insulting summons from an official named Sortini, demanding she become his mistress. In a powerful act of defiance, Amalia tore up the letter and threw it in the messenger's face. While this was an act of immense courage and self-respect, it had devastating consequences. The family wasn't punished officially. The castle is too subtle for that. Instead, they were simply ostracized. The entire village turned against them, stripping them of their social standing and livelihood. Their story is a chilling example of the castle's invisible but absolute power. To defy it, even justifiably, is to be cast into social and economic oblivion. Amalia's quiet strength stands in stark contrast to K's desperate maneuvering. She chose integrity over access, and paid a heavy price. As the story progresses, K's world begins to unravel completely. His relationship with Frieda collapses. She finally realizes what we, the readers, have known all along. K was using her. He wasn't interested in her as a person, but as a stepping stone to Klamm and the castle. Heartbroken and disillusioned, she leaves him for one of his former assistants, Jeremiah. K is now more isolated than ever, having alienated one of the few people who showed him any kindness. Just as he hits rock bottom, another message arrives. Barnabas tells him that Erlanger, a chief secretary from the castle, wants to see him at the inn. This is it. The interview he's been fighting for. A direct meeting with a person of authority. He rushes to the inn and finds Erlanger's room. But by this point, K is utterly exhausted. The constant struggle, the sleepless nights, the endless frustration. It has all taken its toll. He finds the room. The opportunity is right in front of him, but he is too physically and mentally drained to even act on it. He simply doesn't have the strength left to seize the moment. And this is where the novel abruptly ends. Franz Kafka died before he could finish it, leaving K's fate hanging in the balance. We are left with this image of a man completely broken by his fight against an invisible, illogical, and all-powerful system. However, Kafka did tell his friend Max Brod how he intended for the story to conclude. In his vision, K would continue to struggle, living in the village, never giving up his fight, but also never succeeding. Finally, on his deathbed, utterly defeated by exhaustion, a final message would arrive from the castle. It would state that while K had no legal claim to live in the village, the castle, in consideration of certain circumstances, would permit him to live and work there. The very permission he fought his whole life for would be granted to him only at the moment of his death, when it was utterly meaningless. The castle is more than just a story. It's a powerful allegory for the human condition. It explores our search for meaning, our struggle against faceless systems of power, and the absurdity that often governs our lives. K's quest for the castle is a quest for acceptance, for validation, for a sense that our lives have a purpose recognized by some higher authority. But Kafka's answer is a bleak one. The systems we look to for meaning are often indifferent, illogical, and ultimately inaccessible. It's a novel that stays with you long after you've read that final, unfinished sentence. It makes you question the structures that govern your own life. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into Kafka's world. If you enjoyed this analysis, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into literary classics. See you in the next video.